I just want to give Richard Spencer a little bit of credit. He got most of the points pretty much dead on. Awkward verbalizations, disregarding those. He identified white nationalism. He identified race equals real. Degeneracy, But the JQ, man, like they came in and they presented their own views on it, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing. I really don't like Jews.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I feel like the guy in that Paul comic about the KKK, where they're complaining about how a guy just doesn't stop saying how he hates Googles, and then he walks up to them and says, "Boy, do I hate Googles." That's me, but with Jews. And the thing about Jews is Jews co-opt.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yes.
That's their survival strategy. That's their ethnic strategy. And when it comes to that point, I've already seen like a double-digit amount of Jews, especially on Twitter, unironically thinking they're part of the alt-right.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how that happened. I'm guessing Milo had something to do with it, but it's pretty disconcerting. And when it comes to that, it might be funny right now, but they're gonna probably keep at it and not take no for an answer. I mean, we know good old Adolf had that experience with them, how they just pretend to concede to his point and then just be the same the next morning. So where are we going to be in 5 years if this keeps happening? Now, moving forward, I already gave you guys an example on Fashion Nation here.
Yeah.
But I feel like repeating it.
Yeah, go ahead, because it's a cool story.
Yeah, so again, it ties back to this whole Jews have been evicted from 109 countries / locations or whatever.
100, somewhere between 100 and 120.
Yeah.
That's right, and then 2 or 3 countries will let them in the morning.
And that's
the problem.
And that's the problem. Yeah. So the main takeaway from this is obviously, Jews are pretty odious people. How do they get so many people to hate them? It must be something. They must be doing something wrong, and that's perfectly valid. But again, it behooves me to remind people that somehow, inevitably, these people get back in. They are extremely good. They have 2,000 plus years of experience getting into shit that doesn't want them to be there. And most saliently, the Norwegian Jew paragraph, which was enacted when we wrote our constitution in 1818, it literally says, and Jews are still excluded access to this country. Now, in 1851, some 33 years later, the Jews managed to get a part of our country's constitution repealed, and they weren't even in there. So now there's this idea floating around that we're somehow exempt from Jewish subversion, as if we're above history. Well, I mean, with thousands of Jewish interest organizations and a more anti-white environment than ever, what on earth would make us immune to Jewish subversion now?
Right.
That's a good point.
It wouldn't.
That's a solid point. So how did that actually happen? I mean, I'm assuming they subverted some people from outside, like shekels.
They got some. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what the inner mechanics of that were. I'm guessing business interests had a lot to do with it. Yeah. But there was basically 4 prominent Norwegians. One of them happened to be a gay-ass poet and they were like rock stars back then. So they were the 1800s Hollywood stars, basically.
Oh God,
poetry,
of
music.
Course,
and,
of course.
And they championed this cause, ever since the Constitution was made. It took them 33 years and 4 votes, but they eventually got it revoked. And,
same thing they did with our immigration policies. They just kept at it and just hammered it for years.
Yeah. You just keep at it. You never give up, and eventually people are just going to be fine. Just shut up. I'll do it. Just shut up.
Or you just get enough people. You get enough people in the shekels and pressure and all that stuff, and and the real thing is, like, I'm assuming a lot of stories are going to be very similar for all the other countries that ever banned them. I'm assuming that this is how they operate. We know this. We have countless historical examples of that, and it's not going to change. It's a winning strategy. We haven't been able to beat it yet, and it actually counter signals us a little bit. because we've always operated on the axiom that everything that isn't explicitly far right will go left over time. It's sort of the same principle of work, right? But here, even things that are explicitly anti-Jew, explicitly enforced, somehow manages to get subverted.
That's basically, that's how more explicitly anti-Jew can you get than having written in your country's constitution.
You can't come here.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that they were able to accomplish that. Jesus Christ. It's like, what the fuck are we going to do? That's really blackpilling, actually.
It sounds sort of futile, right? And that's what makes it really, really lame to sort of rag on our far right movement for being like, yes, the race war now all the time. But we need those people. They have a valid point. It's like when a dad sets boundaries. There doesn't, even though the reasoning doesn't seem right, or you don't understand it because you're a child, you do it because it's life wisdom. It's distilled wisdom, and you should adhere to it even when it doesn't really make sense.
Right. Fuck.
It has to be almost. It has to be felt almost. It's almost an emotive argument. It's not really dialectic. It's just something we've had to deal with for 2,000 years. We haven't gotten rid of it. So let's just try going with our feels on this one.
Yeah, and the question becomes like, how do we make counter-Semitism the norm again, or to continue memeing? How do we make it great again? I know. Oh yeah,
Echoes.
That's what it is.
Bully side Jews.
Yeah.
Point out whenever they're being anti-white. It'll happen.
Which is easy because they're always being anti-white.
Exactly.
So
yeah.